Welcome to toy-polloi.
Hello and welcome to another video from toy-polloi, and in today's video we are taking a look at 4 all new figures from the Next 17, and these are retro inspired Star Wars figures based on Imperial Officers, and ones that I've really been looking forward to taking a proper look at. So from the left we have the ISB Officer, then we have the Imperial Scanning Crew, then we have an Imperial Commander, and finally we have an Imperial General. So let's take a closer look at all of them and I'll show you what you get. So let's start with the Imperial Scanning Crew, which is a character that you see on the Death Star in the first Star Wars movie when the Falcon is being searched. And this is something that I've really wanted to have in my collection for a long time. And you quite often see people make customs of a couple of figures to get something fairly similar to this. The custom requires the ATST driver with an Imperial Officer, and you basically swap the head onto that. But as you can see, this is an all new figure. So what do you get? Well, you get the figure in this nice light blue plastic. It comes with a blaster. There's a lot of detail going on with these figures. I think Graham and the Next 17 are really improving the way the figures are made, that every one that they do gets better and better, and I think this one is looking really very nice indeed. So you have the Imperial Officer sort of head there with the proper hat on. Got a couple of emblems on either side. The gun is removable, and you can see that that is an all new design blaster. It's not one of the sort of original blasters that came with the Kenner figures, and it fits really snugly in the hand. You also get with this figure the little scanning box, which I think is a really nice addition. This actually has a removable lid. You can see I can take that lid off and it does clip in place. I have to say on this one particularly it clips in place so well that it's actually been quite hard to remove it again, so I'm not going to clip it on just for this video. But you can see you get this nice little crate and a great way of storing some weapons. There is also a coin available for this figure, which is very reminiscent of the coins released for the Power of the Force 2 figures, and as you can see on this one it says Imperial Scanning Crew Elite Operators, and on the back there is a bit of text which, if I get the angle right, I can read to. It says Elite Operatives adept at surveillance and tracking, ensuring Imperial dominance and control, and that is a really nice thing to have as well. I do think the figures that Graham is producing are looking really lovely these days, and this one is going to be ideal to put with the rest of my Imperial army. So let's take a look at some of the other figures. Next up we have the Imperial Commander and Imperial General. Now these are essentially the same figure, just with different paint applications and different plastic, and they do sit in really well with the original Imperial figures and Imperial Officers that were released by Kenner. If I show you these two here, this is the original Kenner one and this is the new one from the Next 17. It is an all new sculpt. There are no pieces that have been used from the Kenner mould, but I think it really sits very nicely with the Kenner style, and as you can see there's a nice amount of detail going on there. If we take a closer look at the head, you can see we've got painted on eyes and hair. There's a little bit more paint there for the insignia on top of the hat there, and if we zoom in on his chest there, you can see we have the Imperial Commander detailing there on his chest. If we look at the other one, which is the General, you can see that that has the different logo there on his chest. They each come with a weapon which is different to the Imperial blaster, you can see here, and again this is nice and easily removable from the hand, and hopefully you can see that the amount of detail that's going on there in that little sculpt. So this one can't get mixed up with any sort of vintage Kenner weapons because it's an all new design little weapon. It does fit very snugly in his hand. There's a bit of paint detailing there on his belt as well, nice bit of silver on the front and some black detailing to show the belt. And I forgot to show you on the Scanning Crew, there is a copyright information on the back. So this one says TN1724, so that's the Next 17, and I'm guessing 24 is the year that this one was produced. But as you can see, that is a very nice looking figure. And if I bring up the General here, you can see that this is exactly the same figure with a slightly different paint application. So the hair on this one is more of a sort of a browny colour, as are the eyes. The hair on that one was a black, and then the body is painted in a sort of dark grey colour, but with the same sort of detailings on, apart from the different little insignia there on his chest. But he also comes with the same weapon, and that this guy, as I showed you, was in the nice green plastic. I initially thought when I saw these that this was actually using most of the same parts from the Scanning Crew, but when I bring in the Scanning Crew figure you can see that it isn't. The only thing that has been used again is the head. So the head of the Scanning Crew and all of the Imperial Officers are the same, but the body on this one is completely different. I think it does look really rather lovely, and it does sit in very nicely with the vintage Kenner figures. It's a nice addition, and as I said, with the Scanning Crew, it's going to work really nicely with my growing Imperial army. And then finally we have this ISB Officer, which is the Imperial Security Bureau Officer. This is the same basic figure but with a different paint application. So this one has a white torso and then black trousers and boots. The hat is painted black but with a nice little bit of silver detailing on there. And then his eyes and hair are painted a sort of grey-brown colour. I think it's a really nice sort of variation on the figure. I know these are from the sort of the prequel movies, which are not something I know a huge amount about, but it does fit in really well with the rest of the look of these figures and will certainly look pretty nice with my Imperial Army collection. I have to say, with each new figure that the Next 17 produces, they are getting better and better. Each one has a whole load of nice detailing and sculpting on it. They look and feel just like vintage Star Wars figures, so they have the same sort of articulation. You can move the legs about, you can move the arms, and you can rotate the head. They just look absolutely lovely. And if you place these with some vintage Kenner figures, they really don't look out of place at all. They have the right sort of styling and right sort of look to fit in with them. So I think they are absolutely fantastic figures. Whenever you get figures from the Next 17, you get this card with them that shows you which figures have been previously produced and which ones are coming soon. And as in the style of old Star Wars figures, there's also a blacked out one to give you a hint of something that is coming in future. And you can see here all of the ones that have been produced so far. So today we have been looking at numbers 113, which is the Scanning Crew, 116, which is the ISB Officer, 117, which is the Imperial Commander, and 118, which is the Imperial General. But you can see there are plenty of others to collect and some more coming in future. And there we go, that is it for this look at the new Imperial figures from the Next 17. They really are lovely figures, and I think they would fit in with anybody's vintage Star Wars collection. So if you want to grab some for yourself, then do check out the links in the description. I'll put a link to the Next 17's website and also their social media, so do go and check out what they're doing. They do updates all the time, and they have other new and exclusive things that you'll only be able to get through their Patreon site as well, so do check that out. I do need to say a massive thank you to Graham from the Next 17 for very kindly sending these figures over to me to take a look at. I always enjoy looking at the figures that he's producing, and each time I think they are getting better and better, so it's well worth keeping up to date with what he is working on. If you've enjoyed this video, then make sure to hit the subscribe button and tap the bell to be notified each time I upload a new video. And if you've really enjoyed it and want to help me out here at toy-polloi, then why not think about becoming a patron of the channel. You get early access to all of my restoration videos and also access to an exclusive video series called On the Cutting Mat. So have a think about that, and thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching Toy-polloi. Subscribe for more great videos.